Tell me a little bit about what you're learning today. What are you going to walk away with from the Chick-fil-A Leadercast?
Well, there's been a lot of key things, but I think the number one thing I'm going to take away from today's seminar is that the leader has to go first. You have to set a living example. And all the speakers I've heard so far are talking about the fact that they've got to walk the path first before they expect anyone to walk the path behind them.
Very good. Key concept. What about, did the seminar meet your expectations? What would you say to someone coming back next year? Would you say, hey, this is a value to be at?
Oh, absolutely. It's been interesting. It's exceeded my expectations in some areas. In some areas, it's been completely different than I thought. It's covered a lot more than just leadership. So I've learned even more than I expected.
Tell me a little bit more about that. Beyond leadership, what did you learn?
Well, there's been a bunch of stuff on persistence, on passion, on how to build a great team, on how to build a great career. So all of those things have filtered in on how to be an outstanding leader.
And you got the passion, John. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jill, tell me a little bit about what you learned here at the Chick-fil-A Leadercast.
I have just found this very affirming because the thing I've learned the most is that you need to lead by example. And that one of the things I really liked is when he said people are at different levels of leadership and that everybody is going to react to you differently based on what level they're at. So it's very important to learn what that person, where they're at in their walk so that you can glean from them and talk in a way that they can understand.
Great principle. That's a great principle. Tell me about the conference overall. Did it meet your expectations?
I would say overall it exceeded my expectations. I mean, being able to hear from 11 different influential leaders, all from different aspects, and some of them that inspire, some of them, they're talking about your dream or talking about how we can change the world and be an influence. I'm all about being an influence, so I love listening from that many different people.
Very good. And I can tell that it did exceed your expectations. What would you tell someone who you were looking to invite next year? Why should they attend next year's conference?
I would tell them it is so important to invest in yourself professionally and personally. A lot of times people will go take a trip to Disney or they'll go out to a restaurant or movie and they won't think about it. But you ask them to buy a ticket to an event and they don't want to take the time or they don't want to put that money forth. But it's truly investing in yourself so that you can help other people both at home and at work.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Jan, tell me a little bit about, we're here at Chick-fil-A Leadercast. What did you learn today? What's something you can take back tomorrow and begin to apply?
I think one of the biggest things that I learned really was to, first of all, lead through example. That no one is going to actually follow you unless they feel like you actually know what you're doing, and that you're not just telling them what to do, you're actually living it. And the other part really is that as a leader, you have to understand what good talent is. And you can't recognize that good talent unless you have it yourself, really. And then once you have that talent, the next step really is to be able to train these guys so that they can train other people. Because then you can take that step back and just have these people training better people, and then it just keeps going. As opposed to you just managing someone and then kind of doing what you say, it's not going to grow.
Makes a lot of sense. I can tell you've learned a lot today. Somebody coming back next year, there'll be a Chick-fil-A Leadercast next year. Why should they attend if they're not here today? Why should they come back?
Well, I think really anybody that's looking to get into any kind of position beyond just your general, you have a boss and they tell you what to do, that's going to either be looking to get into that or is already and feels like they need to kind of take it to the next step. Any kind of business owner that really just needs to learn how am I going to make my guys as good as they can be and how am I going to grow. That's just the biggest thing that I think people are going to take away from any of these in the future.
It's great advice. Thank you very much.
All right.
Tell me a little bit about a lot of great speakers today. What are some of the things you'll be taking away today?
A lot about leadership. I've studied leadership for a lot of my life. I've actually been a speaker professionally as well. So I'm fascinated by watching world-class professionals sharing world-class content that can literally impact people's lives in a very practical way. And the mix of speakers, some of whom I know and some of whom I've never heard before, was extraordinary, and some of the ones I didn't expect to were the ones that affected me the most. The school teacher of the special ed class of 150 underprivileged kids, that incredibly emotional story, and the woman who climbed Mount Everest in honor of a fallen friend. Those were emotionally impactful in a tremendous way, with a lot of leadership principles kind of woven in. So that's the main thing, leadership is available to anybody. You're not born a leader, you can develop it, and the more people you're able to lead, the more influence you have, the greater legacy you have to leave behind. So I encourage anybody who has this opportunity. This will be a live event next year. Similar cost, 80,000 people were listening this year. I'm sure it'll be over 100,000 next year. And we had about 6 of our folks from our medical practice, Medici, here, and we know there'll be a lot more next time.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, it's a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Great. I'm with Bev and Steve, and just wanted to talk a little bit about Chick-fil-A Leadercast. What did you learn today? What are you taking away that you can begin to apply tomorrow?
I learned first that our community is really interested in events like this, and they've enjoyed their day, and so I've learned that part about our community. Glad we could do it.
Very good. So it's been a huge part of impacting the community of Gainesville here. What about you, Steve?
I've learned that you never stop learning, and you have to keep at it in order to stay up with it, much less get ahead.
Very true. So I can tell from the passion that I see in your eyes that it is making a difference. What about, did it meet your expectations overall throughout the day?
Oh, it did. We've been fortunate because we've heard a lot of these speakers in person, and we were just so excited that we could bring them here for others to share. In fact, we often wish we could expose our own children to Chick-fil-A speakers, and we noticed in the audience there are a number of young adults, young children, and I think it's a great opportunity for them.
That is exciting. And Steve, for next year, there'll be a Chick-fil-A Leadercast next year. Why should somebody come back?
It's just mind-boggling of all the expertise that you can gather in one day, and we certainly hope to expand it to bring in even more young people to take advantage of this.
Very good. Thank you for your time. All right, I'm here with Jennifer, and I want to know a little bit about some of the time that you've spent here at the Chick-fil-A Leadercast and what you've learned today.
It's been really cool to hear the personal stories of the people, because you realize that there are leaders and they're big names, but you can relate. And even being, 15, it's really cool just to hear, because I learned by analogy. So to hear the people's stories, hear what they have to say, it's inspiring, and it's really cool.
And being 15, tell me what do you think of when you think of leadership? What does it mean to you?
Leadership to me means going somewhere where people want to follow you. You dare to be different, and you go your own way, and it's something you do by choice. Whether people choose to follow you or not, you decide for yourself.
Very good. Thank you, Jennifer. Go be a leader. See you.